How's it going?
Good. I know you've been traveling a lot as well, and also busy.
Yep.
All right, we are live, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Want to shout out also, I also congrats to Terry and Evelyn. A lot of good stuff happening there, and happy for them. And I know you got to go up there, and heard it was a great time. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really good weekend.
That's great. Hey, Kurt, Patrick, the semi-master crafter. Some people have taken issue with me calling you that, but you chose that name, so that was not my choice. Just like Rob chose the ever mistaken. No, I don't. I don't use that anymore, Rob. We've retired that. You've been right too many times. And maybe a master one day. Yep. All right. So let's go live on video. And John, you're going to be the star tonight. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Here we go. You are heard and seen in 3, 2, and 1. This is Loremaster's Arcanum 126. We've done a lot of these. I want to give a special shout out to Rob tonight, who ran some LMAs and a one-shot while I was out and gallivanting about Europe. Rob, thank you so much. And as always, your contributions here are very much appreciated. And I heard you did a great job. I haven't watched them yet, but the story arc and the character arc, those streams were near and dear to my heart. I know we had a cool giveaway, but would you like to give any kind of a synopsis of either one of those? Like, if someone missed them and they want to go back and watch the VOD, what could you tell them about why they should?
So, if you're looking to create deeper stories and you're trying to figure out how to do it for your campaign, both on a campaign level as well as on a character level, because the character story is very, very much an important part of the campaign. These are the streams to watch. We talked about different things that we've done in order to build those stories, how to get the players involved, what goes into them. It's all kinds of good stuff.
So, Rob, if you had
a lot of ideas from the chat on how they did, others did theirs as well. So
what would be a highlight for you, Rob, if you had to pick? Character arcs and story arcs are so important in long-term campaigns. One shots, that's interesting, but the long-term campaigns. Was there anything that came out of those discussions that was new, novel, surprising to you?
I don't know about novel. Actually, there was one story. Go back and Vivi will tell you a story about one of our campaigns and one of the story arcs, and it took a very interesting turn very quickly.
Okay, all right.
But
is that like something I should be concerned about with Twitch banning me, or?
No. It was just, that was not where I don't think anyone thought that was where that story was going. But yeah, it was. I think being able to tie the character arcs into it, because one of the things that we had to work through with the first part was trying to keep the character arcs as a separate LMA and not let it blend too much.
Yeah, right.
So when we got to the character arcs, we got a bit building it all the way from backstory into player ideas, and plus figuring out how to continue their story as the campaign progresses, because the importance, it was really, I think one of the big things we tried to get through was the importance of the character arcs.
Right. I mean, it's everything, right? I mean, you could tell stories, but if the stories aren't character driven, they're not impacting the players in the way they should.
And I mean, to me, the important thing is that the character is not the same person they were when they started the adventure, and I'm talking from more than just a mechanical level.
Right.
I mean, obviously, they're not going to be the same because they'll have additional levels, different abilities, but that's not what we're getting at. It's who the character is, what drives them, what continues to drive them.
Exactly. And I think that's why, I love what's happening with Tears of Arid and that evolution of those characters, from children. But then I think of the Anaho and how he evolved over time, or Millie. So many of these characters, they're not the same as when they started. That's a really good point. So, as we shift, the topic tonight is grappling. And John, I want to say thank you. When I brought up the topic of building a romance grappling chart, I never imagined you would lead that charge.
Yeah.
And so as we talk about romance and grappling tonight, John, you have the floor.
Whoa, no pressure. Okay, so really what ended up happening was what was it? You had someone on your LMA that had written Dungeon Grappling.
That's right.
What's their name?
Yeah, put me on the spot like that. Crud. I have it. It's one of the links up here. Rob, do you remember his name? He was so kind. Gave us 10 copies.
I just threw out the name John or Pat because I have a chance of hitting somebody.
It's Ballistic Gaming.
Yes, right? Ballistic Gaming. Don was his name. He was awesome.
I'm gonna go ahead and put the link to the PDF. Like, that's the PDF at their store. Here is the link at DriveThruRPG if you're a DriveThruRPG junkie like I am. And so I'm also going to be sharing a link with the chat, which is like my summary document. So basically what happened was he sat down and was like, grappling's boring. Like that's all that I can imagine is happening. Grappling's boring. Like you grapple someone and they just can't move. You grapple them more and then suddenly they can't attack. And like it's pretty bland. And for the sake of Pathfinder and the tabletop RPGs in general, sometimes that's enough. But if you want a game that has like a really fleshed out system of grappling, you're going to need to do something different. And so that's basically what this document was. And like I read it, I'm pretty amazed by it. I think it's a pretty worthwhile system to learn and integrate, just with the amount of, for the DM, for the amount of really terrible things you can have monsters do to players.
Yes.
Like the players benefit, yeah, sure. But I'm like, and I'll get to it kind of later on in my explanation, but the ability for like a Great Worm Red Dragon to grapple 4 players at once.
Yes.
By like sweeping its arms, and like this system allows for that. This system allows for things like you cast the web spell, and what happens when you cast the web spell like 3 times on the same guy, right? This system actually has mechanics to make that really interesting. Whereas in the vanilla, it's kind of like, well, you're grappled or you're not. You can't get super, you can't get so pinned in you that you can't really move or become helpless with magic, right?
Yeah.
So,
no, it's super fun. So, as a meta narrative here, we have 3 systems that have to be fleshed out and finalized. We've talked about them on previous LMAs, and those are grappling, perception, and Rob, do you know?
romance.
not the grappling. No, psionics. Because we've got so many different psionic systems that then we hit the first one with Ego Whip last night, but we have to get all 3 of those are going to be finalized. So you saw the discussions. We got input from folks in our Discord. We're going to finalize all of these. Tonight, we're finalizing grappling. And I think what I saw, I read that thing like 4 times today. I'm still struggling with it, John. It's So I want to make this easy for people. I'm going to switch over to your...
I've got your back.
All right, I know. So the idea is make it fun, make it control points and CMB, CMD. We're going to start losing people if we don't make it simple. So should I switch to your Ninja link?
Yeah, to switch to my Ninja link. I mean, it can't get
You got it.
simpler than, kind of Notepad.
Oh, what I'm seeing right now is super scary.
Can everybody read that? That's the question.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so in the beginning, basically, welcome to Grapple class, folks. So in the beginning, what is different about this grappling system than the current grappling system? The current grappling system is like, you can't move now. You can't move now. Now you're pinned, and I, take your weapons or I crit you. That's about as flavorful as you get. In the new system, you basically have grapple hit points that start at 0 and they go up. And high is bad, and the more of them that represent something's control over you, you are able to do fewer things. You can't attack, maybe your spells fail, and you can't move, things like that. So that's the gist of it, is you basically have another hit point system. And so that's going to be the hurdle, is it's like yet another system that people need to track. And to be really honest, even just the players that expect to be grappling, would kind of need to do this thing. So that's the real difference. The real difference is you have grapple hit points, and as you apply them to other creatures, you can do things to those creatures, and as they do them to you, they can do things to you. That's the gist of it. And this new form. Oh, any questions?
Well, Rob, I'm going to play the neutral corner. I want you to be the foil. I want you tonight to push John on how to make this simple and easy, because I know, like CNC, the Siege Engine, I do like making things easy for players, and I want you to help push on this so we get to something which is a good balance between realism, flavor, context, and ease.
Okay.
And what I have done as far as tracking these is in the RPG Scribe app on your phone that I use for Kalak.
Right.
There's this little area, you probably can't see it.
Yeah,
That's called trackers. And I just put a thing in there that's like my control points. 0 out of 23. Faux control points.
Ah, okay.
And so what's interesting about grappling is it is mutual, but slightly less so for the attacker. And so as I apply control points to other people, I then gain basically, as I grapple you, I start running out of arms, right? So as my control points on myself actually start going up too, but to a slightly lesser extent. And if it's two people fighting one another, it's like more or less even. But if it's a dragon grappling you, they can completely incapacitate you and not even notice, just because their pool is going to be a lot bigger. So in the beginning, we had this question of how many control points do I have? My summary document that I created here is more or less the entire dungeon grappling document, only without all of the explanations for why strength is so important.
I'm gonna pull that up so I think this view here is helpful because I've got it in dark. It's a little more readable. If you can see this on your So here, how many points do I have? So if I look on this, I've got my roll to hit using CMB, grapple, CMD, plus special abilities. Control points are strength score plus dex bonus plus half attack bonus times CM modifier. That's the...
If you go to the, I think it's page 3, the bottom of page 3, that in giant text.
Yeah.
That's how you calculate your control points.
Yeah, that's what I have.
And a huge part of that dungeon grappling document goes into exhaustive detail about really why everything's driven by strength. And it's one of those things, once you accept the fact that everything's driven by strength, there's half the document can go away because you're sold on it, right? You no longer need to be convinced. So a lot of my summary is just removing all the stuff about why strength is so important. And if you really care about that argument, you can go.
No, I'm going to come back to that. So, so strength and dex are the two main pieces of this, right? I can move quickly. I can knock you off your balance. Go ahead, Rob.
Dex is a lot less important because you're only using your dex bonus, not your dex score, according to this.
Did I post the correct link?
Well, I just want to say, Thomas said.
There it is.
As a fan of Crunch, he already loves the system, so we're done. We've already.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's it. We're done.
If we just blanket adopt that strength is important, we can kind of move on. So this calculation is basically it's your strength. Primarily, it is your strength score plus your dex mod plus half your base attack. That's kind of for normal things for medium-sized creatures. That's it. If a monster has the agile maneuvers trait, then they're swapped. It's your dex score,
which is like finesse, weapon finesse for combat, right?
Like a human can take that feat too,
right?
So there's a little bit of flexibility there.
So if you're a really lithe, agile, then you can. This brute tries to grab you. You slip under it. You're so fast. You come under it. You grab his neck. That is how you do that with the agile. Right, gotcha.
And the representation of this is it just takes more effort for someone to completely restrain you. Because this is basically your hit points, right? And so it's a very easy calculation, and it doesn't go up very much. Only when your strength goes up, only when your dex mod goes up, and only when your base attack goes up. And so for the most part, a level 1 character with 18 strength, 18, say you have 18 dex, so Kalak is a monster, dude. Kalak is super strong.
Yeah.
So Kalak has 18 strength and 18 dex. So he has 18 strength, plus his 4 from his dexterity, so he has 22 plus 1 from his half his base attack, right? So he has 23 control points, and that's really, really, really high for first level. And so that's just kind of the nature of it. So then we have this times CM modifier. The next thing that is huge in grappling is how big you are.
Which it should be.
And it is a multiple. And so if you scroll down, or I don't know if that's my...
Yeah, we're on yours, yes.
Okay, so in the size adjustment table, this is going to adjust your control point max. So in the same instance of that, for whatever reason, you have a fairy who has, 18 strength and 18 dex and stuff. They're so tiny that they're going to get a fourth of that. So a normal human could grapple that fairy very easily and completely incapacitate it in one action.
Yes.
And that's what's neat about this is like in the old system, you grapple a fairy, it's grappled. You grapple a dragon, it's grappled. Like the same thing happens to them with the same amount of effort. Whereas if you grapple a fairy, boom, it's totally incapacitated and you can like coup de grace it.
If I can grab that Lilliputian, then so be it. Yes?
Yes. And so like with the dragon, it's the same thing where a dragon can just grab you and you're incapacitated in one action.
Sorry, Toot.
Because they're so much bigger than you. Okay, so that's part one. Part one is how many control points do I have? How do I figure out what my control point hit points are? The next is how much control point damage do I do? And this is based on class and Pathfinder.
So I'm going to ask you to pause here for a second. So,
sure.
Rob, you're the foil tonight. Congrats. And we will do the live testing here in a bit. But questions, thoughts on what you've seen so far?
I mean, I like it so far. It's all making sense. Unfortunately, from a CNC standpoint, it would kind of the places I was not expecting it to fall apart would be the size adjustment table, and that's because they don't get nearly as granular with creature sizes in CNC.
That makes sense, and to me, that's actually one of the most important parts of this.
You can just remove rows, or you can just wing it.
No, you could. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
But the size of a large creature can vary. Like there are things that are I think listed as large in CNC that should be probably huge. I'd have to go take a look, but I remember that being a question we had come up during one of the sessions, that there's not a heck of a lot of we call it as far as the size differences. I can double check on that. It maybe we just weren't looking at the right creatures, but I think they're not quite as granular there.
You could also, even if it's not necessarily size, it's like how much harder or tougher or complex would it be to grapple this thing than a normal person?
Yeah.
And if it's like twice as much, maybe then you'd multiply it by like the times and a half or times 2 or something.
Well, and I think this is like, there's some really good comments in chat. So smaller creatures should get a bonus to Dex. I agree. They can get a bonus to Dex, but I think that bonus to Dex would mainly...
It's already reflected.
Exactly.
It's reflected in their stats.
It's in the stats, right? Then Kurt said, so the size adjustment table makes it so that it's pointless for anything smaller than a medium creature to grapple. All right, so let me give you an example. My daughter...
This is where things get cool.
No, but they should.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter is 5 feet tall. No, 4'11". And she's pretty athletic, but she's 12. If she tries to grapple me, it does not matter how dexterous she is, how skilled she is. There is not enough force and power in her body to grapple her 6'3", 220 dad. It's real. Now Tick, 1,100 pounds. Massive half giant. These things should be reflected, and I think this is what the system does.
So here's what ends up happening.
Get them, Avonlea.
So we look at this table, and this is so on the right hand side. That's how much like monsters do as far as control damage goes, and it's that plus their. I should write in here. That's plus their strength, right?
Right.
So if a small creature grapples you, right? Say its control point just for fun, its control point maximum is 10. Your control point maximum is 15, right? There's a chart down below that as a small creature starts to grapple you, it can grapple you up to a point, up to its own control point maximum. So a small creature could grapple you about 10 points worth before it completely restrains itself. It basically runs out of limbs to grapple you. But in this system, as your control point points are added, things happen to you gradually. So Kalak has 23 control points, but at 11 points, I'm considered grappled. At 3/4 points, I'm now actually considered like restrained. And so the small creature could have an effect on you without being able to completely incapacitate. But 3 of them could.
Yes.
And that's a big difference.
I like that.
I'm also kind of wondering whether, I realize it's a multiplier, but I'm actually wondering if ×2 for huge is even far enough.
I agree. But huge is, because
I did. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I statted out an ancient red dragon, and so I will share that. It has like 228 control points. Like strength, it's strength plus its dex mod is a penalty, right?
Right.
Actually, I have it here. It's just freaking nuts.
Yeah, because it's not moving agile. Right.
It's a 43. It has a base attack of 29. So it's 42 minus 4 dex plus 19 base attack times 4. It has 228 control points. So it would take like 10 or 15 people to grapple an ancient red dragon.
Yeah, because that's colossal, though, right?
Yeah, it's colossal. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that is how many control points do I have? How many control points do I do in an action is determined by your class in Pathfinder. And so what's nice about Pathfinder is that this directly plugs in because it uses the CMB and CMD. Like all the do I hit, what do I roll to hit,
right.
you've already got it. And so in this instance, Kalak is a fighter, so he has a D10 plus his strength modifier when he attempts to grapple.
So when I looked at this, like the first thing that jumped out to me is, obviously we have many more subclasses or variants, but if I'm reading this correctly, I think Barbarian getting that D12 plus strength bonus, I think Gladiator should be listed as a separate class here. Because they do this as a living. Should they not get that
2d6 or something instead?
Yeah.
There's some variant of it.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of the starting point, for that kind of stuff. And then they mentioned a bunch of stuff in that PDF about feat conversion. So there's like a bunch of Pathfinder feats. There's a bunch of like 5e feats that could modify this. In general, if someone has a feat that makes them better at grappling, you just consider them one size larger. That increases their control points, and it increases their grapple damage.
Yep. That's right, Thomas.
So we've got how much damage do I do? And we've got how many points do I have? And then there's how do I hit? And again, it's just a CMB thing. Roll your CMB against their CMD, and if you do it, you do it, and if you don't, you don't.
Which is base Pathfinder, yeah?
So it's just base Pathfinder. So once we have rolled to hit and we are currently grappling someone, at what point do they start suffering penalties? And so right here, up to 1/2, they're grabbed, which is kind of a modified version of entangle, where basically
1/2 of their control points, right?
Yes. So for Kalak, this would be
11.5.
11.5. Right?
12, yeah.
11 on me, I'm grappled now. But under that, I'm considered grabbed, which is a little bit different. Like grabbed, you can walk away from. Like if something tries to grapple you and they grab a hold of you, you can still just leave. And so it's an interesting state that someone can have you grabbed but not actually affect you yet.
Okay, so this is when I looked through the document, I got what's grabbed versus grabbed plus, because I think we're going to start overcomplicating this if people are not understanding it.
Plus. So there's if it's under.
Hang on, I'll find it here on my chart.
I've got 1/5. Why did I put? Is it 1/5? I don't think it's 1/5.
Here we go. I'll show it.
I think it's a typo.
So can you look at my screen? So you see like here, counter grapple has a grab plus state.
Yes, so that means you are grabbed or entangled or incapacitated. Like your
it's okay.
Or above.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there are certain moves, and we'll get to the cool moves you can do, where they need to be in a particular state in order to be able to do it. But grappled basically means you're entangled and you can't move, and to break, you just have to break free to walk away. And then up to your max, so yeah, 1/2 you're grabbed. Up to your maximum, you are now grappled. So if I'm at 22, I am still grappled, which means I have an attack penalty, I have an AC penalty, and I can't really move. What's interesting is you can be grappled, and I can choose to move you. Even though we're grappled, if it's my action, I can roll an opposed check, and I can move the both of us. And the same thing on your turn, too. You
Right.
can choose us. Pinned, you have huge penalties, and you can't move, and basically it's like really incredibly difficult to cast spells.
Okay. So to do as advertised, I want to live play this. And you're going to be the DM, John. And so Rob and I will be the players. And I have my PC up here. His name is Aiden. He's a 5th level. I think I'm battling a 7th level, right, Rob?
Yeah, 7th level cleric.
No worries. Okay, so let's paint the scene. And you're going to be the DM. Let's role play. So we're in a bar. We're in a tavern.
No, you're not.
No? Where are we?
Cacophony of the arena deafens you. The blazing sun scorches you. Your skin simmers and sweats inside your heavy armor, and you think to yourself, maybe I shouldn't have worn this out in the open sun of Athos. From the stands, bits of rocks are raining down as those who have put wagers on your different lives try to do every tiny thing they can to discourage you or to give you a disadvantage during the combat. A loud gong sounds as
How about thee?
open. To the death, you hear.
The cleric of Palor realizes he shouldn't have made the left turn at Keeland.
The paladin looks at the cleric and wonders, why am I fighting this guy?
So John, what's your strength?
It is 16 plus 3.
Okay, don't need the modifiers. You got
Okay,
16.
16.
What's your dexterity modifier?
It is 1.
So 17, and what is your base attack bonus?
It is 8.
So
So 25. Oh, 4. Half my amount. Okay, so 21.
Yeah, so 21, and you're a medium creature, right?
Yes.
You have 21 control points.
Got it.
All right. How about you? What's your strength?
18
Plus your dexterity modifier.
plus 1, 19 total.
19 and
OP, Munchkin.
Plus 5.
So 2 more. I've already lost count. So
21.
That's your control point. So you both have 21. So you're about even, right? Okay. So roll initiative.
Oh,
As you clash in the middle.
crap. I've got a 1, Rob.
Beep.
3.
All right, Rob has it. He has.
Wait, things are already going wrong because I just won initiative, and anyone who's actually seen me roll initiative in any of my games knows that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm assuming you're gonna attempt to grapple, right?
Yes.
So roll your CMB, please, against John's CMD.
All right, so Thomas is challenging me. He said there's no way I have a +8 base attack bonus. No, my base attack bonus is 5.
He's on 7.
My total to hit is +8 because I have +3 to that BAB for my strength. So did I miscalculate that, John?
Yeah. So it's your base attack, not your.
It's 5. Yeah, it's 5, not 8.
Okay, so then it would have been, what was it, 18?
Yeah, so I got to take 3 off. So I'm at 18.
19.
So I've got 18 control points. Got it. All right. Thanks, Thomas.
So I'm rolling. What am I doing here?
You're rolling your
20
CMB, your combat maneuver bonus. And do you have any feats that give you grapple or anything crazy that
No.
I should know about? Yep, so roll that, and that is your 2 hit to see if you hit.
That's a 23 total. So, yeah.
CMB. Okay, so you hit.
I'm assuming John CMD is what?
It's hang on, pull it up again. It's my CMD is 20. So yeah, you hit.
Okay, so you roll a 1d8 because you're a cleric plus your strength modifier.
Eight. Things are going well.
So, John, you increase your control points by 8.
So now describe this for me. Like, what's happening in the arena as the crowd goes wild? The cleric rushes at me. I'm in my full plate, regretting my decision as the sun bakes on me. This cleric runs at me. What does he do to create that 8 control point?
What did you do, Rob? How do you do to sneak past his guard?
I just look like I'm giving him a nice big friendly hug. I mean, we're all on the good side here, right? So,
Okay, so what was your?
I'm a man of the cloth. I'm not supposed to be this.
So you do the okey doke. You do the okey doke on me. Like I thought you were on my side. You walk up. What are these people doing? And then suddenly you grapple me.
Yeah.
So did you roll an 8 on the die, or was that 8 die plus strength?
Oh, die plus strength is 12.
12. So it's 12 control points, which is above your half.
It is, yes, because my so
you are now grappled.
What's that mean? Tell me what it looks like.
-2 to hit, -2 AC. He ties you up. He's got a hold of you, or I don't know. How are you grabbing him?
Big bear hug.
He's got your arms pinned, and he's lifting you up off the ground.
Okay.
All right, and so keep in mind, grappling is mutual. And so at this point, you need to look at how many points you are applying to your foes. And right now, you're applying 12, which is up to your half of your control points, right?
Yeah. But I had 9. 9 would be half because I was 18. So
John is grappled.
Yep. Aiden's grappled, not John.
Aiden's grappled, and I should write this down. What's your character's name, Rob?
Devin.
Well, of course, my pen I've had all day is no longer working.
All right, I'm going to take.
Put it in Notepad. Okay.
I like Chris's recommendation. I'm going to try to kick Kevin in the junk.
Okay, so wait.
You can kick Kevin all you want.
You are grappled.
Yes.
And Kevin, you are currently grabbed. It doesn't mean anything, but it does. It means that if he wants to move away, he's got to do something, right? Okay, so now it is Aiden's turn. So Aiden, as you have someone trying to control you. On your action, you can try to grapple back. You can try to reduce his control of you, or you can just try to like a generic attack, right? And so we can look at your options as a defender. Let me see here. Counter grapple.
Roll to hit.
If you counter grapple, you roll to hit. If you do, you roll your damage, right? When you roll that damage, you choose how much control you want to reduce from yourself and how much you want to add to Kevin. And you can mix it up.
What's your actual name, Rob?
Devin.
Devin.
D-I-N.
Devin. D is in dog. Devin. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
So it's a counter grapple, or you can just straight grapple where you just try to grab him, or you can just hit him with a weapon and just, fight through the penalty.
All right, so beyond counter grapple, what would be my options? So we assume I'm bear hugged. He's got my arms pinned. We're both in grappled state, right? It's not like he can swing a weapon. He's got me grabbed. He's using both of his hands. What else can I do beyond counter grapple?
You can, basically that is how you get free, is you reduce his control. Like if you want to just get free, you can choose to attack, like a generic attack. You can just stab him.
Well, I can't stab him. My arms are grappled, right?
No, you're grappled. So just like in standard, you're not restrained or anything. You can stab him. You can punch him. You can do damage.
Okay. So if I did, sorry, go ahead.
At the top here, so your options are: you can attack to add control points to him. You can attack to just do generic damage, like you normally would. If you have a +5 flaming sword, you don't really care if he's got you grappled. Like the -2 doesn't really mean anything to you. Or you can counter grapple, which is kind of like a combination of the attack one.
All right. So Rob, I saw you kind of made a fate. Thoughts?
See, here's where you're going to run into issues where if you've got one person with a weapon, the other person grabbing, you're going to need some mechanism to say, other than the person saying how they've grabbed you, because how that works mechanically is going to have an impact on what the opponent, the grappled opponent, can reasonably do.
So that comes to the point, like if Devin has grabbed Aiden in a bear hug, my flaming longsword is useless. My arms are pinned.
Well, the grabbing your arms like that is like flavor text, right? He's got you grappled in the same way that if you were currently grappled in Pathfinder, it means these mechanic things versus like how we actually describe.
All right, so then I think that's important as a DM. I would not allow you to bear hug based on even those 9 control points or 12 against my 18. I would make sure it was something that textually made sense. So he's grabbed an arm, an off arm, a leg. He's got his arm hooked around my hip. But if he has not prevented me from swinging a board, he has not actually grappled my arms and bear hugged me.
Yeah, but what's
I mean, that's fine, but I think you need to have a way to mechanically determine that other than, just basically somebody arbitrarily saying what happened, whether it's the DM or the player or whatever.
Well, that's what I think we're saying the same thing, Rob. Is that
We might be.
well? Yeah, so what I'm getting at is like the action that is described should not outstrip the CP. So if the control points have completely pinned you, like in the grappling flowcharts from Pathfinder, you had pinning and roping and tying up. You can't say, oh, I grab them, bear hug them, pin their arms to their chest if I have not actually exceeded the necessary amount to do that. A 12 against a CP of 18, okay, you've grappled me, but you have not pinned my arms to my chest and prevented me from swinging a sword, correct?
Right, and I think that'll just take practice on the DMs.
That's why we're doing this. Thanks, Mikey B. Yeah. All right. So
I guess the question is, how far would it need to have exceeded for that to have happened?
Exactly.
In order for him to be grappled, well, so right now he's currently grappled.
Right.
He would need to be pinned, which you would need to get all of them.
So 18.
You would need to have 18 on him to pin him.
So he's 2/3 of the way there.
Yes.
All right, so he's got an arm around my waist. I still have my other arm free. I still have agency, but I'm at -2 to hit, and I'm at -2 on my armor class, correct? Which is a typical Pathfinder grappling state. Is that fair?
Yes, that's correct.
Gotcha.
What's
All right.
important to note is that you currently do not have any control points on him.
Right. Which is why I would counter grapple.
Yeah, like so you would either want to generate some yourself or remove all of his so that you're free to do something else.
And as you said a moment ago, if I roll, I can choose to do either all against him, all to benefit me, or some split of those two things. Is that right?
Yes, that's the counter grapple.
Yes.
And this can only be done if you are grappled or higher, or grabbed or higher, which you are. So you roll to hit, you're going to roll your command, and then you can choose. So for example, he has 12 on you, right?
Yes.
If you can reduce that down to 8, you're now grabbed and suffer no penalty.
Right.
And then you can reapply the extra to him. But you can choose to do that after you roll how much damage you do.
All right. So as to me, it's about the narrative. So he's grabbed me. I'm trying to like visualize this as a DM. He's got his arm around my waist. He's trying to pull me in. He hasn't fully constrained me, but I'm definitely being compromised in my ability to fight him. Mm-hmm. So now I want to smack my arm against his arm. He might still have a piece of my leather jerkin or something. He's still got a grab on me, but if I can knock that 12 down to 8, I'm no longer grappled. I'm grabbed, but not grappled. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. So I'm going to roll D20. So I'm going to try to knock his arm off. That's an 11 on the die.
Plus your CMB.
Which is 8. So 19.
And then what's your CMD?
20.
Ooh, so you missed. Do you have more than one attack?
Nope. I'm 5th level.
That's that.
All right, and I missed. So I missed because I had 18 plus 20, 38. You asked me my CMD, so I had to beat my CMD on the roll. Got it.
Your CMD needs to beat his CMD.
Oh, your CMD is the same as mine, Rob. That's what I missed. Okay, we're both 20. Gotcha. All right. So yeah. All right. So I swing my arm down and he pivots. I glance a blow off of him, but I do nothing to break that grip. So now we go to round 2. Correct?
Yep.
All right. So
now, Devin, you can choose here, kind of the same thing. Do you want to add more control? Do you want to sacrifice the control that you have gained to do more damage on the next attack? There's all kinds of stuff here once you have them grappled. You can try to injure him.
Pick something fun, Rob.
Here. So for an example is you can add a die to your next attack. by spending some of your control. So if you want, so say you can punch for 1d4. To spend control to increase at 1 per die type. So if you want to do 2d4 with your punch, you can spend 4 of your control points to add that extra damage and just do a generic attack. Or you can try to go all the way to incapacitate him.
So describe it, John. I swing. You're the DM. Make this fun for us. Like what happens is I swing. I don't break his grasp. Now he has the counterattack. What's happening in the audience?
The audience is roaring. Like they're heckling you mostly. Right, they know this ancient holy knight that's suddenly being beat up by...
Ancient? Wait, where did ancient come from? Wow.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
I just imagine you in plate mail. I don't know your character.
So here's the kind of thing where, it'd be like my next move from a wrestling standpoint would be basically to try to pick him up and drive him into the ground.
Gotcha. So he's got his arm around my waist. I tried to break it. I failed.
So there is a move called Stunning Throw, and there's also a move called Takedown. So Stunning Throw there's some moves that they really recommend are reserved for people like monks.
Like monks, or I would say gladiator should be in that list.
Special moves.
Right.
So there's Takedown. So
Takedown is more,
is the requirement is that you have to have more than a grapple on them, which you do, and you need more than, I put 1/5 here, that can't be right there, more than 1/5 CM in control points. Roll a grapple attack, spend 1/4 of your current CM in CP. 1/5 of your, I think it's your current CM. I'm confused. I don't remember this one. I wrote this stuff, but what does this mean? More than 1/2 C. Okay, let's actually read it in the book. It'll probably be.
Yeah, pull the book up. Yes.
Pull the book up.
Click is, yeah. Thanks, Jay. We'll be rating soon.
Let me look. Takedown. Render your foe prone. If grappled, attack versus grapple DC. Spend control points equal to CM divided.
Can you zoom in on that? We can't see that.
Yeah. Sorry.
There we go.
Takedown. Okay, so you're going to roll against his CMB, and in order to do this move, you have to spend his modifier divided by 5 to knock him prone. Control maximum. So what's your control maximum, John?
It was the 18, right?
So this does have divided by 5. I guess that wasn't a typo. So 19 divided by 5.
Oh, 18. So it's 3.
Or sorry,
4.
18 divided by 5.
3.5, whatever. Yeah.
So you must spend 3 control points to do this maneuver to him.
Okay.
Oh, so he takes 3. We should round up. So he takes 4 control points.
Yep, 4 control points, and you're going to have to actually hit.
All right. Roll, Rob.
Fail this.
All right, so Rob's trying to take me down. He's got me around the waist. Devin is trying to take Aiden to the sand in the arena. He wraps that arm around. He goes to lift. He takes the 4 control points, and the roll is?
Not good enough. Only rolled a 3, so 12.
So I kind of shuffle back against that.
So you lose those 4 control points that you spent, and does that bring you down to only being grabbed, John?
Yes, it does.
Yes, because I'm at 17.
So I'm now at 8. I'm So he tries. I knock his arm away. He's still got a hold of me, but I'm no longer grappled.
Right.
And now it's my turn.
Yep. And so we start off with you are currently grabbed, and you have no control points on Devin.
Right. So I now am going to swing my blade at his head. I don't want this grappling crap. I want to hit him.
Here's to do damage. Okay.
Yes, so I'm actually trying to whack him. 19 on the die. Unfortunately, I don't have a keen weapon or improved crit, so it's just a hit. It's going to be a D8 with my sword. Oh, wow, okay. 7 plus the crowd boos, 10 points of damage. So I pull away. He's got his hand on me. I smack him with my sword. You take 10 points of damage.
Ooh, ow. All right, Devin.
Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that. Yeah, the math comes easy.
You've got your 8 control points.
And here's the point. And here's the point at which we realize, hey, you know something? It's just better to beat each other up with weapons.
Or is it?
The urge to take the morning star out and bonk you on the head.
But you are
Repent.
repent.
If you do another D8 plus 4, he's at 8 right now.
Yeah, I'm at.
Up over grappled. If you can get him pinned.
Yeah, like you're Rob. I made a mistake with what I just did. I should have actually. You have 8 control points on me. You are so close to putting me on the ground.
Let's do this then.
Okay, roll your CMB.
Wait, no, it's a new round, right? It's initiative, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, roll initiative. Oh, we didn't do that last time either.
Oh my gosh, another 1. What is going on with my initiative rolls?
Rolled a 2.
All right, well you have it.
All right.
So your options here. So you currently have control points, not enough to grapple him, but you do have options. You can try to grapple him, you can try to strike him to get some extra damage.
Have at thee, foe! You wear the cloth, but you are of no nobility.
You could try to, if you can get up to half of his control points, you can actually try to take his weapon from him.
How dare you! This is my blade, you fool!
So if you read this right here, wrestling an item more than 1/2 of current CM in control points, right? So his would be like 9, I think. If you can get 9 as a full turn action, you roll a grapple attack. If you succeed, you take it. And you can, based on the weapon side, like a medium weapon, you might have a -4 to hit on this, trying to wrestle a longsword away from him. So there's an option there.
Don't be influenced, Rob.
Getting close and personal. All right, where's the ones that I can do with just having grab?
You can basically get more, or you can injure, or you can strike him and do more damage.
Dr. Freud said he's going to have to take some self-defense classes before he comes to Blue Box Con next year. Yes, absolutely. What are you doing, Rob?
Do bonus damage on an attack. Get more control.
Yeah, I want to get more control.
Okay.
So
Roll that CMB.
No.
Target was 20, right?
You cannot. The gods will not prosper your nefarious intent.
that is a 19.
By
is that what
1.
yours is? Was it
20.
19 or 20?
I've got a 20.
Oh, so you miss.
You missed by 1. I told you the gods would not prosper you.
Again, he tries to wrestle you to the ground.
And again, I swing that blade at his head. That's a 17 on the die. Plus 8, 25. I assume that hits.
Jeez.
Yes. And
We gotta get Kalak in here. I could take you out.
I like the honorable paladin bringing a weapon to a wrestling match.
what? No one told me it was a wrestling match.
Oh, wait. On your action, as you are swinging the blade, there's a blinding white light in your mind. Devin, you see Aiden, glassy-eyed, turns his back and throws his sword as far as he can. And you hear, "I will have none of that."
Wait.
From the overseer's box.
Now, backing up, why did I not get an attack of opportunity when he lunged at me? Should I not have if he does not have improved grapple?
Because I still have you grabbed.
No, I'm sorry. I'm going back to the beginning, Rob. When you
In the
very beginning.
You should have.
Yeah. Okay. So still, yeah. So unless he has improved grapple, right? If he has that, I don't get that attack of opportunity.
Correct.
All right. Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
So I just threw my blade. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As an instant immediate action, you can still take your action as normal.
All right.
As the time warps and shifts in the arena.
I'm going to counter grapple him. Well, I rolled a 17, so that worked.
Like, I'm running the game.
Yeah, exactly. You are, yes. All right, so I counter grapple him. 17, I hit on that, plus
yes.
8 on my CMD at 25. So then I roll what now?
You're going to roll, you are a paladin. You roll a
Correct.
D10 plus your strength.
A D10 plus my strength, which is +3. And on the die, I rolled a 4, so that's 7.
All right, so you apply 7 control points to Devin. I don't think that's enough to get him past.
Or could I remove those from me? I think you said I could choose either one, right?
Counter grapple, you can mix and match. You can remove 4, you can give him the difference.
Yes, and I was still at 8, correct?
Correct.
So if I take those 7, he has 1. What does that look like in the game? He's got a finger.
He's got a hand. You're kind of rough and tumble. He doesn't have you in an arm bar or anything. But
It's starting to look like a hockey fight.
You're hanging onto each other's clothes.
Exactly. Yes, a hockey fight.
On your cape.
But he's got.
Your paladin wears a cape, right?
Yes, he does. He has a tabard. A tabard, not a cape. Come on.
Never
Cape.
capes.
Never
right?
capes. No. All right. So actually, I'm going to take the whole 7. I'm going to put them on him. He's at 4 already, so that takes him to 11. Correct?
I don't remember how I got the 4, but I think so.
Yeah, because he came at me. He took the 3.6. We rounded up to 4, right?
Oh, and then you reduced it and gave it to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Right now. So now he's at 11.
He's at 11 now, which means you have him grappled.
Yeah, because he's 20.
Yep.
So what's that look like? DM?
He has a hold of like your tabard. He's pulling on your clothes, but you have a pretty solid grip on some of his armor plates. Like you've got a really strong grip.
I've got nice gauntlets. My gauntlets are powerful. Yes.
Wearing underneath it. But you've got a really good grip.
So he grabs hold of me. I whack him with my blade. Then suddenly this voice commands me. I chuck my blade. Now I have both these massive gauntleted hands. I'm 6'4". I grab hold of his chainmail, rip him close to me. Now we're both grappled state, but I actually have I'm grabbed. He's grappled now, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And we go to initiative.
Go to initiative.
All right. Let's go, Devin. 3 on the dice. You have a 6. You have initiative.
Okay, you've got it grabbed. What are you going to do?
I'm up close and personal with you. You smell my breath. It is minty fresh.
I think it's time to kick him in the crown jewels.
The privies. No, not the privies. I have a noble codpiece, sir.
I've got a steel-toed boot.
Okay, are you going to use your CP to increase your damage? Are you going to, what do you do? Are you just going to do a generic attack?
So he has me at.
It's injured foe for strike. This is a strike, not a. Well,
Yeah, I'm still at 8.
There's roll to hit, do damage, or there's roll to add control points.
This is do damage.
Okay,
I own some damage.
are you going to use any?
That's a mistake. Oh, I got you. That's a huge mistake, Rob. You are done. You are finished, bro. I got you on this. That was a mistake.
Roll to hit your.
Go ahead.
AC, if you're punching or swinging a weapon or what. How are you wanting to do damage?
That's gonna kick.
Give him pink eye.
19. 1 second. That is 26 total.
That hits.
Ooh, yeah.
Give me the damage, bro.
Ooh. That's what the audience says. Ooh.
That's 8-sided die?
And you're hitting with it with a Morning Star?
No, with my foot.
Oh no, no, it's a 1D. It's a D2, right? With a foot plus strength.
D2 plus strength.
E2?
Yeah, unless you're a monk.
That makes it a D4.
Yeah, unless you're a monk or something. Yeah, it's like a D4 divided by 2 is typically what I've like.
Is grappling allowed without consent?
Oh yes, here, but not on the romance grappling chart. Never on the romance grappling chart.
There's a separate chart for that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that's
Thanks, Pat.
2 plus 6 total.
All right, so he kicks me.
The foot comes up. We're not expecting that from this man of the cloth.
You fool! I have you now. And so,
Toast.
yeah, so now I am going to, so if I exceed his CM, he is at 11 with a total of 20. So I need 9 more to exceed, correct?
9 more and he's pinned.
Yeah. So I am going to grapple him. I'm going to try to flip him and pin him to the ground.
Do you want to do a takedown?
Yes.
This is the same move that he tried.
Right, exactly. So I'm doing the same thing to him now.
Okay, so you're going to roll an attack, and you have to spend 1/5 of current CM. Oh, we went over that before, didn't we?
Right.
In PP. Oh my gosh. I probably still have this on the page, right? Takedown, duh. Here it is. Yeah, so his command points divided by 5. Which, how many... Don't you give the same number of control points?
Yes.
We did.
19.
We did. No, we
19.
no, we both had. Well, we started with 20, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you just spend 4. So, and this is where it's interesting, where it's
So then if I spend that 4,
maximum.
that puts me back to grappled.
You spend 4. So, sorry. You're throwing him. You reduce your control on Devin by 4 points.
Oh,
How many points of control do you have on Devin?
11.
So your control of Devin goes down to 7. And you're going to roll an attack to see if you can throw him on the ground. So he is now down to grabbed, but you might dunk him on the ground.
So if I go from 11 to 7, and I'm sorry, guys, I know this is crunchy.
Sure.
Once we get it going, it'll be simpler.
It's
But
Math Finder.
yeah,
and if you don't expect it, then
yeah. So it's and a DM can make this easy for you. Like John is working through this. It's all new. If I run this in GHA, it will be simple, clean, easy. It'll go fast. But if I take those 4, go from 11 to 7 on him, what do I have to do to actually be successful? Like, how do I gauge the worth of this effort?
the worth of this effort will be if you succeed in your hit.
Right.
If you roll to hit and you hit, and
Right.
you spend your 4, he's now prone at your feet.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Even though he's at set.
roll.
Okay. So all right. So
you
even though I've reduced him to 7, does he take more control point damage from if I succeed on this pin, or he's still at 7,
Nope.
but he's now prone?
He's currently at 11. You're
Yes.
spending 4 of your control of him to basically move him to the ground.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
It's like your control points are a resource for kind of manipulating your opponent. And if, for example, if this was an ancient dragon, you'd have to spend 1/5 of its total control in order to
Right.
do that, which is like 20 something.
You're
There's
right.
no way.
No
you
way.
could ever do
Right. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So I'm gonna do it.
that. Come on, camera.
I'm gonna try to flip him on the die. That's 13 on the die. My
Grapple attack, so it's against his CMB.
and my CMB is 8, so that's 21. So that hits, right?
What is your CMD?
I thought it was 20.
Mine is 20, but there's no penalty that he has to spend any.
No, he is spending his control point resource to do this to you. That is his penalties. He's giving up control to change your position. And he is not grappled,
No,
so he has no penalty. If he was grappled, he would have -2.
I'm grabbed.
Grab doesn't do anything. It just
Okay.
means you can't really move around.
Go ahead, Rob. Rob's not feeling it.
I'm having a problem with him going from grappling me to grabbing me, and in the process of grabbing me, throwing me.
No. Grabbing is first. So grappling is already past grabbing. So I guess
Right.
what I'm feeling a little bit unsure of, Rob, is if I've got you grappled and you're at 11, I give up 4 control points. You drop to 7, but in the process, I flip you to the ground, but I somehow have fewer control points. That doesn't make sense to me. If I've got him on the ground, would I have more control?
Not on everybody, right? Like you have him on the ground. He now has the prone condition, but on his action, he can stand up. There's nothing stopping him from getting back up again, right? So he can use his movement to stand up, and then he can continue to grapple.
Then what's the point? Why would I give up 4 points?
Imagine you're in a party of 4, right? And slamming someone to the ground on your turn benefits your allies on their turn, right? You're spending this resource to change the condition of your opponent, where you could have just hit him with your sword for a d10 damage. Like, if you look at the opportunity cost of, yeah, it feels bad that this dude just slam dunked me on the ground, but he did go to the trouble of generating control points on you instead of doing damage to you. So he could have attacked you for a d10 damage last action, and attacked you again and damage this round.
All right.
And so you have to kind of look at the...
All right, so then based on the fact that this is a single one-on-one combat, I would not try to throw him, take him down. I want to increase my grappling. I want to get full control of him. So if I just then, I've already got a hold of him, he's grappled at 11. I'm not going to take the -4 now that I understand it. I will then, I can injure him.
Try to strangle him.
It can try to strangle him.
You have to give him a lot.
So strangle, yeah. So so if I exceed his control points, what happens? So he's at 11.
Helpless.
So he's
helpless.
All right, that's what I'm gonna try to do. So I hit with my roll. I was a 21. Now what do I roll? So I'm trying to control him. I'm trying to get him helpless. I don't want to take him down. I want to control him. So how do I roll that damage?
D10 plus strength.
All right.
So here's where I'm running into another problem. This, especially in a one-on-one situation, these grappling rules are going to benefit those who understand the rules better.
Well, I mean, that's the same with literally any class and any subclass and any spell.
But no, but this is to I think this is to an extreme extent.
Well, I mean, you could also in your game only whittle it down to 4 that really matter.
Yeah.
You could just remove takedown altogether. You could just remove a lot of this. You just whatever you think is OP, take it out.
Okay. And so what is this giving us over the base Pathfinder system, the core flowchart that we had?
Imagine disarming someone in standard Pathfinder. How big a pain that is.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Like in order for it to be relatively possible at all, you have to take feats, and then it's like really obnoxious because if they have a 2, I have the gauntlets that lock on the weapon or whatever, you know. So at least in this system, you can sacrifice damage to change the like a more or less guaranteed way of changing the condition of your foe. I spend the first action grappling you, then I have to spend the second action or second attack grappling you again before then I finally get like an automatic disarm. You know what I mean? And even then I have to spend the points to try to pull it off, which I can still fail, and then I have to regenerate those points. But it's for me, it just like rather than just like I'm gonna attack you, I'm just gonna roll to hit you with my sword every single round, you can sacrifice that damage to change their condition in a couple of rounds or a couple of turns. Or if you're really big, you can do it like next turn.
Right.
Or you can inflict a condition on them that helps your party. So you can be like a support grappler, like people tend to try to be. So that's kind of where I get something out of it, in that there's more for people to do in melee than just do damage to each other.
Right. Yeah, and I think there is benefit to this. And I look especially, not Kalak, yes, but take Tick as an example. He goes to that large category, which is tough to do, right? 10 by 10. I would almost think he should be huge at that weight. I said 1,100. He's actually 1,400 pounds. I think he's 11 feet tall, 1,400 pounds.
Yeah, that's
He's monstrous. So like he should have the ability to grab, control much more easily. Going back to the example, although the chat was supporting Avonlea, that she could chuck me. But Tick should have that power, and I think it makes sense. Like the Red Dragon, multiple limbs. These things you don't want to be overly crunchy, but I do like making things more realistic, and I think that's the goal here. So back to you, Rob. You had 11 on the die. On my D10, that's a 5 plus 3. That's 8. That takes you to 19. I have not controlled him completely, right? He's got 20, so he's at 19. What does that mean?
He's still grappled.
Okay, so
he has -2 to hit and -2 to AC.
Gotcha. But I have not done anything better than I had at 11 to 19.
Nope.
All right, Rob, let's finish this up.
But if he doesn't counter grapple, or if he doesn't reduce it, then
yeah, he's close. All right, so Rob, last time initiative. My God, another 1. What? What?
I got a 4.
What are you gonna do? What's Devin gonna do?
I've got you. I've almost got you. You're that close, Rob.
Got to counter grapple.
Counter grapple. Roll your CMB.
Fail. You suck, Rob. You suck. You can't do it. You failed.
That is exactly a 20.
Bam! D8 plus strength. And then let me know if you want to reduce his control on you, if you want to add all...
You want to drop that 19 or add it to my 8? Keep rolling that die on GH8A. Yes. I might, Manda. We'll see.
Oh, you should not use this grappling system if you are not very good at the system that you're using already. This is some advanced stuff.
It does seem to be quite complex, but yeah, I agree, Thomas. We can, as a DM, once I know how this works, I promise you I can make this easy for the players. I can. I'll do a much better job than John's doing tonight.
It's Ow. It's gonna be, do you want to add control to them? Do you want to remove control?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or do you want to do a special move?
Everything sounds complex the first time you hear it. We can make this easy. All right. So Rob, what'd you do? Did you reduce against my 8 or add to my 8 or reduce against your 19?
That's a good question.
It's the only kind I ask.
I'm not sure which one I should be doing.
Well, you're 1 point away from me having you helpless, so I would think you should reduce that. Am I right, John?
Yeah, all right, okay.
Otherwise, you're praying for him to miss on his action.
Exactly.
All right, yep. Reduce.
So how much? D10 plus strength.
D8 for...
Oh, D8. Yeah, sorry. I do like that class. That makes sense now. So I can see where the classes are getting. So the cleric is not as good at this as the paladin. Neither would it be as good as the barbarian or the gladiator. What is it, Rob?
7 total.
Total of 7. All right, so you're down to 12 now. I can still get him. So now he pushes back against me. We slide in the sand. The crowd goes wild. His boot to my groin failed. He did not hit me there. Just got me on the inside of the thigh. My sword is now 10 feet away. I am going to come at him, and that's a nat 1. All right, so fumbles in the crit system. They should happen. So I'm going to roll again. I don't care what you say, John. You should have fumbles.
Sure.
That's 11 plus 8, 19. That would miss, wouldn't it? Yeah, so that is a fumble. What happens now?
Crit fumble? I mean, I would say that, what would happen there? I think you mess up, and Devin gets to do... So you try for a maneuver, and your foot slips. Your foot slips in the sand, because you're a castle-dwelling paladin, right? You're not out in the desert. Your foot slips in the sand.
Why am I in this arena to begin with?
And Devin capitalizes on that. Devin, please roll some control damage for me. Your D8 plus strength control.
He flipped it around. Your brain hurts, Fraley. We got this. How much?
Total.
10!
Oh! What are you at? What's your control point?
Well, I think with the flip and that, he now has me helpless. So he flips me.
Helpless. How many points does he have on you?
I believe he's at 22 now.
He's at 22. Is that your maximum?
No, my maximum was 20. No, 18. My max was 18.
Okay. Your max is 18. So we'll go off of 18 because he can't.
Okay.
So so keep in mind it is mutual. So he will be up to. He will be basically. He will be affected as well. So he is grappled. And so what happens is you look on the chart to determine how many control points are affecting you and how many control points are you affecting in other people. Whichever one's worse, you apply to yourself.
So what does it mean if he has me helpless?
You are absolutely helpless. He has you pinned to the ground.
So how do I have him grappled if I'm helpless?
You still have control points on him, right? Like you are twisted up in a ball. But unfortunately, when you are helpless, you cannot attack, so you can't make use of any of your control points.
So it doesn't matter, right? Okay, gotcha. So it doesn't matter that I have.
There could be a rule that once you hit helpless, like all your control on anybody.
I think that makes sense. If I'm helpless,
yeah.
you have. So then, what can he do to me now that I'm helpless?
Okay, this is where you get to the good crazy stuff. So now that your foe is helpless, you can.
How dare you, Devin?
you can inflict pain. You roll an attack, fort save of 8 plus your foe's attack roll bonus, and you will tap out.
Tap out? I would never tap out. All right, so fort save of 8 plus your attack.
So this is one of his options. One of his options is you can inflict pain.
Let's try it. Let's try it.
All right, so he's got me on the ground. He puts his knee, his knee is in my groin, and then he drives his fingers into my throat, inflicting pain, trying to show me I must tap and humiliate.
You have to roll to hit, but the thing about inflict pain is it doesn't cost any control. He can just keep you helpless and keep doing this until finally you tap out, or when someone helps you.
All right, so he rolls, or I roll?
He rolls an attack on you.
Okay, so 8 plus the foe's attack roll bonus.
That's the fort save if he hits you.
Gotcha. Well, and he. All right, go ahead. Roll the hit, Rob.
And you also have -5 to your AC because
I'm helpless. Yeah.
You're beyond pinned.
All right, so I'm down then on my AC to a.
And I have roll attack. I'm assuming it's like.
Oh my gosh, I'm bad.
That's 22.
Yeah, he got me.
Foe must be restrained, which you have.
I am.
It's a grapple DC. So sorry about that. It's your CMD versus or CM.
Either way, he hit. Yeah, he got me.
Okay, so he hit you. So you have 8 plus. What do we say it was?
His combat bonus, right? So it's going to be plus. You're plus what, Rob?
Combat bonus.
Yeah.
The +9.
All right, so I've got to beat a 17, right?
Oof.
All right, here we go. That's a 3.
You tap out. You cry. You say uncle, and it's up to Devin whether he lets you go.
Come on, Aiden. Admit it. Anti-paladins are chaotic evil. Come on.
Stunned. You are also stunned for 1 turn from the excruciating pain.
Okay, so I'm stunned and I can make no such admission. All right, thank you so much, everybody. That was super fun. I think we enjoyed that. John, thanks for putting this together. Let's go through this document. Let's clean it up and make it a little simpler. I think we do need a flow chart. We need something that's the box to box to box with the options. I think is helpful, but I think there's a place for this. It's fun. It's workable. If the DM has it, he can guide the players through it.
And it opens up options for your monsters it's just unbelievable. Like so the Great Worm Dragon, right, has 2 or 3 attacks or 5 attacks. The first attack, it can grab you and you're instantly incapacitated, and then it can do another move to strangle you. And when something strangles you, they roll to hit, and the higher that they roll to hit over what they needed, they do strangle damage to you.
Yes.
You're like toast.
Which, again, I like that. Like, it should happen. If you look at the example of the picture we had for tonight's, you had this monster who was 4 times the size of the guy pushing up against him. That should create an incredible advantage.
Oh, I love this. This is so good.
All right,
there's this guy here being grappled by Ickies. But something I didn't mention that we didn't even get to was grappling with spells.
Oh, yes.
There's a conversion where basically it's like 1d10 per level of the caster. So when you cast web on someone, they do their reflex save. If they fail, they suffer like 3d10 control point damage. Spells like Black Tentacle create an area of effect that like just does 4d10 control point damage every round in that area. And so just lots of different opportunities with Entangle to control the battlefield.
Yeah, I like that. All right, so a couple of housekeeping items here. Thomas, absolutely. I would never roll this out in a game where I had not worked with the players on it, make sure they understand it, do a test on it like we did tonight, and I think it can be done. It's mainly important for Dark Sun. You've got the gladiators, you've got the Thri-Kreen, you've got the huge half giant. I'm not saying Click can't try to grapple someone, but he probably doesn't want to. A good question from Kurt. that came up. Kurt asked, where to go here? The nature of grappling and the pressure of the restraint on limbs, would it make sense to have a different crit chart for the purpose of breaking bones? I have that. So I put John on the spot, but I actually have a whole crit chart on.
Loremaster has great unarmed combat.
I've
And there's specific grappling one. Yeah.
I have that for Rolemaster. I also have it from Tim. I also have it from Steve Bloodwild. I have grappling crit charts. So hand-to-hand combat, breaking bones, snapping limbs, popping things out of sockets. All of that is in there. So when I rolled that one and then confirmed the fumble, I would actually roll on my fumble, hand-arm fumble, or hand-to-hand combat fumble chart. I have that. So that should be part of any combat to me. Like you can.
There are also rules in here for having a weapon in one hand or grappling with one. Like if Tick is so strong, he can completely grapple someone with one arm. Like he just rolls half damage on his when he does control to people.
Exactly.
So it's pretty flexible like that.
All right. Hey John, I think quite Dark Sun. Yes, exactly. John, thank you for this. This was super helpful. You put a lot of effort into this, and it makes sense to me. We just need to make it a little more streamlined, a little more elegant. But I think this is going to be fun, and it will be appearing in our Sea of Dark Sun game as soon as next week. Rob, final comments, thoughts?
For a game like Pathfinder, where crunchiness is
right
part of the thing, it works. I don't know that I would ever use this for a rules light game.
Yes.
There's no reason.
Nope.
Yeah, for Castle and Crusades, this would be.
It's completely.
And the rest of the thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the aggregate of all the CNC rules would not meet this. So.
Yeah, it's. I think the system really kind of pushes back against like the 5e, where the difference even between the Pathfinder version that we're using or D&D 3.5 versus 5th edition. Where it's like they're like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Right.
One doesn't quite capture all the neat things and the flexibility. The other one's like, dude, Pathfinder's all numbers.
What I'd be curious is how well this would work for Pathfinder 2e, and how much adjustment I'd need.
I don't see why it would be much different, would it?
The conversion rules that they use for 5e I would just use those for Pathfinder 2. They're so close in my mind, anyway.
Yeah, I think it would be quite usable. But no, Rob, you're right. I think that's a good way to look at it. To me, I don't know how often I say this, it all comes down to the DM. A good DM can make something complex feel transparent in game. If you don't, I would not be ready yet. I need to go through this again. I need to really understand this in order to make it feel easy for the players at the table. If it gets overly crunchy, like I've always said this, I can take someone who's played 5e only, and they can play in Pathfinder in my game with RPG Scribe, and I'll walk them through it, and it will feel simple. It will feel easy for them in the game because I know the rule set so well. With this one, until I know it, I would be afraid I would make it too complicated for the players. But I think
if you've got more than like one or two characters that are on the battlefield grappling, that it would be too much. Like if you have like every round all 4 characters are grappling stuff and all the bad guys are grappling stuff, this wouldn't.
Which never really happens. Like that shouldn't happen. Yeah. And I think again that attack of opportunity, that's important. If you don't have improved grappling, giving someone a free shot on you matters. And if you have, this is where the whole ecosystem flows, right? I have criticals, which are deadly. So what you're saying is, if you're going to grapple me, there's a 5% chance I'm going to nat 20 you, right? Right? I'm at a 5% chance.
I think any damage you do upon that initial grapple, it increases the difficulty to hit you.
It does, yes, exactly.
If you bop somebody for 10, that's plus 10 to you.
Right, so someone just trying to grapple you, it's very dangerous. And unless you're someone like Kalak or Tick, probably not worth it because you're going to get whacked and you could get critted and you could be killed. You could get your arm chopped off coming in at me trying to grab me when I have a sword. That's the way the whole ecosystem works in the combat. All right. Well, with that said, thank you again, Rob. Thank you, John. We're going to raid Jay. And we will be back on Friday Night Crusades on Discord this Friday, right, Rob?
Yes.
So join FNC. If you've not joined it, it's really fun. It's easy in Discord. Jump in our Discord. You can be part of that, and Rob makes it so easy for you. And then Sunday we'll be back with Tears of Aird. There will be no Greyhawk Awakening on Tuesday because it's July 4th. So there's nothing on July 4th. And then we'll be back on the 11th with Greyhawk Awakening, Sea of Dark Sun, and that will be more consistent for us, as I mentioned last night, after that. So with that said, thank you both. And the raid is now.